Hello, today we are going to talk about how I create YouTube videos. My YouTube videos are screen recordings. So this is a fresh install of Kubuntu 23.04, which is a Linux operating system. I have installed OBS Studio and smplayer from deb packages from my Linux distribution. Then I'm changing the screen resolution to 1080p. Which I do it from here. So my screen resolution is 1080p, which is 1920 by 1080 pixel, which is 16 by 9 aspect ratio. And I record at 1080p 30 frames per second. So I start OBS Studio usually from the start menu, multimedia OBS Studio. Then, because it doesn't have any configuration files, OBS Studio will show me a first run wizard. There it's going to ask me if I want to stream or record or just use the webcam. I say I only want to record. Then it determines that I do not have a good enough hardware for recording, which is good for me because software encoder the software encoder does not have any bugs, whereas I have seen bugs created by hardware encoders. So software encoder is okay by me, my CPU is powerful enough. So again, I am not using special dedicated hardware, which means GPUs, graphics processing unit, for encoding videos. I'm using the CPU central processing unit, so I do software encoding, not hardware encoding. 30 FPS, 30 frames per second are more than adequate for recording screen recordings. I do not need to go 60 frames per second. 1080p is a ton of resolution. My screen recordings will not be viewable or readable from mobile phones, so you will need to use a computer, a laptop, in order to see fonts and text in my screen recordings. But this is okay for me because I want to have as much as possible available screen real estate, because I open web browsers, I open terminals, I edit files, so I need a bit of space. I cannot do it in 720p resolution. So 1080p is a minimum for me, and I also work side by side, so I have often two applications running at the same time. That's why I need a 16 by 9 aspect ratio and at least 1080p resolution. Okay, so after the first run wizard, I set the audio settings in OBS Studio. These are my sound configurations. I'm recording in a noisy environment, so I need as much noise suppression and gating as possible. So I keep defaults to any of the filters that I add, but then I will customize just this filter noise gate, and I'll change the close and open decibels settings there. Okay, so how do I do that? In OBS Studio, I dock OBS Studio to the bottom right quarter of my screen. Then I mute the audio mixer inside of the audio mixer, the desktop audio. There's no need for us to record the sounds generated by my computer. I only record my voice. I'm using a microphone, and in here I do my audio settings. So for the mic AUX, it's these three vertical dots button where I go filters, and then I add the filters that are specified in here. So I go add filters, which is this button. By default, the audio filters list is empty. So I add the filter noise suppression. In here again, I keep all of the defaults. Then I add the next filter, which is a noise gate. In a noise gate, I change close to -40 decibels, open to -34 decibels. Then I add the next sound filters compressor, this thing. I keep the defaults. Then I add limiter, where I keep the defaults. And then I add invert polarity, where there's nothing to configure. Then I go close. The next thing, so I have I have made the OBS Studio window use the correct quarter of the screen. If I maximize it, I will get microphony. So this is better for me. Microphony being this thing, which I totally do not want. I have never found this thing useful or professional to have it inside of screen recordings, which I sometimes have the OBS Studio window visible in my screen recordings. So into the bottom right quarter, it's where the OBS Studio window will live. And then I add a video source, which is inside sources. I go add, and I select screen capture X shared memory. I can do this because I use X11 and not Wayland when I connect with my user using KDE Plasma desktop. So I have selected X11 in the display manager, SDDM. Okay, so with that, I'm recording the entirety of the screen. The screen is already 1080p. OBS Studio will tell me this. So when I go screen capture, it's going to tell me that the screen is 1080p, which is okay. That's the size of each frame inside of the screen recording. And then I go start recording, and I do a short recording, which I then play back going file. So I go start recording, I do a short test where I use my voice, I say the beginning of the text that I need to say, and then I go stop recording. After that, from file, show recordings, I go to my first recording, and I'm actually listening to it using smplayer. So I go Ctrl C in order to hide the controls, M in order to mute. So Ctrl C hides controls, which can also be done in here in the main menu of smplayer, video, and then compact mode. Full screen is F. Mute is M. Volume up is 9. Volume up is 0. Volume down is 9. So these are keys on my keyboard, which I actually use. I use M, 9, and 8. I use F. I use Ctrl C. I sometimes use stay on top, which I can also do from the window manager inside of KDE Plasma, which is called KWin. So click on the title bar, either right click on anywhere inside of the title bar of smplayer or click on the icon inside of the title bar of smplayer. So left click and then select keep above others. So more actions, keep above others. Okay, let's go back to Ctrl C. Let's play it. I need to make it play from the start, so I go page down. Okay, I listen to the sound, to the audio, to make sure that the volumes are okay, that the audio filters were not messed up with and are set up correctly. Okay, then I can start recording. To start to do the actual recording. So the first short recording was just a test. And now we're starting with the first chunk of the screen recording. So I go start recording and then immediately I minimize the window of OBS Studio. Okay, so we are past this part. We have recorded some video chunks. And now the next step is how do I actually edit each video chunk. I do not use any GUI graphical user interface video editor. I do it all from the command line. I just do two things. So editing for me is really important to be really fast, efficient, lossless, not lossy, because I do not want to invest time in actually editing the videos. So I do two operations. One is removing the final part of a chunk, and the second one is concatenating each chunk into a final video. So I use the default settings, which are H.264 encoded inside of a matryoshka container. Let's stop this screen recording here. Then let's start it, and we'll have enough chunks that we can concatenate to create a final screen recording. So we will have many MKV videos inside of the home directory. So this is my home directory. I have, this is the test MKV file, the short test screen recording that I did. And then this is chunk 1, 2, and 3. The current chunk, which you can see it's increasing in size all of the time. So let's open the screen, close the screen recording. Sometimes I stop the screen recording by pausing it first, and then I press the stop recording button. So sometimes I go straight for the stop recording button. Sometimes I go to the pause recording button and then to the stop recording, or I might resume the screen recording, so I can go pause and then resume. Or I can stop the screen recording from the system tray, right click, stop recording. Okay, so now we have enough video MKV files with screen recordings. We will now proceed to cut the final parts of the MKV files, the individual MKV files that are not needed. And then we'll concatenate all of the files into one. So for that we will need ffmpeg. Let's see if that thing exists. Okay, it seems to be installed. I'm using the file manager, the Orthodox file manager Crusader. You could also use Dolphin. I go to my home directory because that's where all of the screen recordings are placed by OBS Studio by default. Then I can open the integrated terminal, which is the keyboard shortcut F4. Where is it? Open terminal here. Open terminal Shift F4. Not this one. Okay, I'm not sure where the shortcut is. Let's find it right now. So F4 is it. Show panels, places, this guy. So in the main menu of Dolphin, a view, show panels, terminal F4. Okay. So now I can sort the videos by name or by modified. And we'll look at each of them and remember the second where the video should be trimmed. So this is the short test video. M to have a bit of audio. 9 to get the volume way lower. Play it again. Okay, and then I show the on-screen display, which is with the keyboard key O. So O twice. Okay, this video, the first one, is a test, totally not needed. I want to delete this file, which I do not know how to do. I do not want to move it to trash. I want to delete it. Shift delete. Okay, Shift delete works. Delete permanently, yes. Then the first useful MKV file. I scroll through the video using the keyboard arrow keys. So left arrow key, right arrow key goes up, down 15 seconds. Up and down go up 1 second. 1 minute. What is this thing? 1 minute. Yeah, so up and down arrow key go up or down 1 minute. And page up, page down go up and down 10 minutes. So right arrow key for 15 seconds and up arrow key for 1 minute. Okay, and I'm very interested in what's happening in the last 10 seconds. If the audio is okay or not, if I intentionally stopped the recording or if I was forced by external factors to stop the recording. Any anomaly in the sound in the last seconds, I will cut it out. So 0.57 would be it. So 0.57, let's do that. I'll rename the first chunk to 1. So I go F2 key, which renames this thing. I go 1. And then I use this command line paste. I say grab a part of the video 1.mkv as losslessly as possible, create the file 1.output.mkv, and make sure it starts at the second 0. I could tell it to start at second 10, for instance, like this. So minus s means start time. So it's okay with the first second to start at the very start of the 1.mkv file, but then I want to truncate the last seconds of the video. So I tell it don't stop at whatever time the video 1.mkv stops, but stop at the moment 00.57. Like this. So a video named 1output.mkv is created. Let's look at the second video and make sure that this video continues with this video. Yep. Okay. So indeed, all of the seconds that I cut at the end of 1.mkv are not needed. Okay, I overwrite 1.mkv with 1output.mkv. So now we have two videos in succession, correct? Let's see the end of the second video. Is that correct or not? Is there extra audio at the end, extra seconds that are not needed at the end of the 2.mkv file? .49. So 0.49. Okay, so up arrow key. This is a 2, this is a 2, and this is 49. Okay, creates file 2output.mkv. Not okay. I need one extra second. Overwrite yes. Great. So this is where I wanted it to stop. Rename to 2.mkv. Okay, so this is number 3. Okay, this is a wrong video. So its entirety is wrong, so I do not need it. And I'll be back with the final part. So the final part will be just finish truncated the right hand side of the right end of 3.mkv. Stop recording, edit the end of the last MKV file. Usually you control the moment when you stop the final chunk, the final video recording, the final MKV file, so you rarely need to actually edit or shorten or truncate the final MKV file. Then, after I finish editing this file, I will concatenate all four using such a command line. This, and for this I need a file which is called vidlist, which I do not know how to create. Let's create it with Kate. Okay, and it will have 4 videos in here. 3 and 4. Okay. Let's eventually remove this one for now, just for tests. And the command line that I run is this one. So where I say ffmpeg concatenate in a safe manner the video parts of the MKV files, the audio parts of the MKV files. Take the list of MKV files from this plain text file where the name of the videos are new line separated with this prefix file and then space and simple quote and ending with a simple quote. I tell it again to copy, so don't transform the audio codec or the video codec, keep them as they are inside of the MKV files and use the same video codec for all of the MKV files and including for the output MKV file, which is going to be named a.mkv. Copy, so again a lossless concatenation, not a lossy one. Okay, and this is the final video that was created, which is again just a concatenation of 1, 2, 3, and 4 MKV files. Where I scroll to make sure that everything's okay. So left arrow key, right arrow key, up arrow key, down arrow key, page up arrow key, page up key, page down key on my keyboard. If I like the screen recording, then I'm going to create a name for the screen recording, which I do it like this. I need a globally unique ID. Okay. I generate 10 global unique IDs. I'm going to select the first part of a global unique ID, but if the first part does not start with a 0. So this 48dacbe7 seems okay. So I'll rename the file, Ctrl V, and then whatever it's this video about. So this is how to screen record. How to do screen things. Okay. And what's missing is a screenshot. So the first screenshot, which YouTube allows me to upload. So let's create that. Not sure what's going to be in the screenshot, but we'll create a dummy one right now. So let's increase the fonts to make this thing visible. And I know. let's have OBS Studio in the left hand side of the screen, in the left corner, and the instructions take the entirety of the right half of the screen. I increase the fonts by control scroll using my mouse. Okay, and then do a screenshot, so print screen. This starts KDE Spectacle. Copy image to clipboard, GIMP, paste, and then I'll put my fonts and I'll save the screenshot. So export it, not save it. Using the same name as the video. So I didn't rename the file. What's happened? Yep, I need to copy this name, Control V, and that's it. Press enter twice. And now I have a pair of files with the same name, so parts of a globally unique ID, text that describes the screen recording, and then one file is MKV, the other file is PNG. So this is the screenshot of the screen recording, whereas this is the actual screen recording that I need to upload to YouTube. So this is my procedure on how I create screen recordings for YouTube. Thank you.